It's a great day to be alive. I can't believe this. I got a sync placement in a Super Bowl commercial. Let's hit a track.
While the game enters the final commercial break, Sabra Hummus takes the field. The snap is down, the dip is up, and the dip is good! Sabra, dip the brakes.
Man, I'm so proud of that placement. And I know, you can see Super Bowl 2020. It's not recent, but I figured what time to play it then right after Super Bowl. Hey, it has over 1.5 million views on YouTube still, so I'm really proud of that placement. Let's break down the track. So here's the track pulled up. Now, things are different. This is what I don't like about old projects. I made this in 2014. It didn't get placed in 2020. So this is the rough mix of just the WAV file. So I advise you, if you're making music now and you have finished tracks, bounce everything down, dry and wet signals, so that way you'll have them. So at least I can play them. But if you can see over here in the left, there's plugins that's no longer working because I've been upgrading my computers about 2 or 3 times. So stuff sounds unmixed, but I didn't want to go back and try to mess with it. It already got placed. It's a nice mixed version, so I'm not worried about this. I just want to show you for purposes the track that got placed. Let's start it off. First thing I already noticed that I didn't like. Soon as I hit play, what you want to do for your music, if you're submitting for sync licensing, I pressed the space bar and nothing played. Listen. Stuff needs to drop right away. No one got time to be worrying if something is there or not. Someone may click it to play and then they don't hear anything and then they think nothing is on the track and you didn't send them a track. So that's already one mistake. So when I got the placement, I'm surprised that it got placed. And this just goes to show you don't know what goes placed. So even though in my future videos, I try to help you with a formula to help get placed, this still got placed, even though I can see several flaws in the way I formatted this track. So let's just keep going. Oops. Let's get into it. First of all, the intro is way too long on the intro. So it's sounding good, but if I was to do it again, I'd probably cut it short like here. And make that my intro. But if you notice in the commercial, they did that anyway. So a lot of times when you're making your music, you want to make sure it's made in a way so editors, right? You have to think in the mind of editor that they can cut it and chop it right at the beginning. And they can make their edits because they're going to do what they want to do. So then we go in, I got the verses. Simple. The change up. So you can see I got the change up, but if I was doing it now, I'll probably add a little bit more elements to make it go. And then when they cut it in the commercial, they cut to the end of my sting ending. I love a good sting. Let's listen to how it ends. Now I think in the final version, I had so many versions that this little effect sound, I don't think that was in the actual final version, but you get to see how I broke the track down. So it's really simple. The main thing is this basic string these strings motif that just keeps playing. You can see how simple things can be and what things I would change. Like I said, when you're making your tracks, you want to make sure it's starting right away. Don't use any silence because they may skip over your track and they think you sent them a blank track, and then they might lose trust in you and be like, hey, this person sends blank tracks. But that's not the case. And another thing, you probably want to make only like 1-bar intros. If an intro. Sometimes you start off with just the chorus. Sometimes you start off with the intro. Let's listen to a different version of the track. You see, I made a whole bunch of stem alternate tracks. So this is something else that you're going to want to send music libraries. I have a 30-second. I have a 30-second with the intro. I have a 60-second, a stinger A, a stinger B with no vocal. So let's just listen to the different variation. Now that's still long intro. So let's listen to the 30-second regular. Now you see how that came in quicker? That came in quicker. That's a better edited version. And then I made some with just a stinger. Right, so, and then I got another one with no vocal in it. Right, so you think about me sending these multiple stems because it allows an editor to put things together in different ways of how they want. So they probably listened to this track and was like, oh, we got a 30-second, we got a stinger with no vocal, we got just the drums and bass, etc. So it makes their job easier to cut and break down tracks. Getting something like this is definitely not typical in sync licensing. As a matter of fact, I didn't even know I had got this until like a year later when I had got a random check sent to my house and I said, what is this for? And it said commercial Superbowl. And I said, what? And then I went on searching Superbowl ads for that year and I found my music. Now this came from a placement from a sync library that I'm in Canada. And it's crazy because I only have 5 tracks, only 5 tracks with this music library, but all it takes is 1. So not saying this is typical that if you start doing sync licensing, you're going to get something like this, but it's just all luck of the draw sometimes. That's how sync licensing works. You can be successful. You may not be successful. Hey, I got a major big goal of trying to get my music in a theme song in a show like, let's say, Breaking Bad or Friends or Mad Men, something that's going to stay on TV for a long time. If I can have a theme song like that, I know those royalty checks are going to be fat, but that's the main goal. But if I don't achieve that goal, hey, I can go to my grave saying, I got some music in a Super Bowl commercial, man. One of the most watched sports on TV. And you may be thinking about sync licensing because there's other opportunities that you can get your music heard. Well, if you do want to get into sync licensing, check out one of these videos.